I'm Danielle. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Coconut Cartel, a rum brand. We're based in Miami. Kind of want to talk a little bit about, our experience and some of the insights that we've learned along the way, and the ways that we think about our sales and our marketing strategies aligning to help each other. Right? They both have to live in together, sales and marketing. So you started a brand. Great. You have liquid, you have a bottle, you have a brand, you have some people, and now you're faced with the question of where to first, what do I do now, right? The experts in the field will tell you, build your brand on premise. And then other experts will say, distribute, get it everywhere, spray and pray. And, people see your brand and it'll get really big. So you're kind of there as an entrepreneur with a new brand, like, oh my God, what do I do? And in thinking about answering those questions, as any brand, I think there's a lot of things that will influence what path you take. And some of the questions that I would, bring to mind as a small brand is, first of all, what's my brand positioning? Am I a high-end craft brand? Am I a better priced value volume brand? And then, what's my value proposition? What do I bring to the market that's different? Am I bringing a family heritage spirit? Am I building a brand new, beautiful distillery? Am I doing some crazy specialty finishes? Do I have a celebrity? Like, what is it that makes your brand unique? And what are you bringing to the market? Who exactly am I targeting? So who am I talking to, right? So like, am I in my world, am I talking to the existing rum drinkers, and am I trying to get people from bourbon over to drinking rum? Am I trying to get new drinkers, so Gen Z, the younger ones turning 21? I think it's important to also think about where your brand is going to go over the years. So what's my goal with it? Is it something that I want to keep in the family forever? Or is it something that, either I'll sell or it'll find a home somewhere else? And lastly, a very important part of this is how am I funding this? So am I bootstrapping this, or my family contributing? Or am I going to go seek investment from venture capital? I think knowing who your stakeholders are in this make a big difference in the decisions you're going to make in building your brand and how you invest your money. So if you look at what we call here a marketing cocktail, all of the different things, different ingredients that go into this marketing cocktail, each one of them sort of serves as a platform to tell a story. We won't have time to get through all 5 of them, so I'm going to try my best to hit the on and off premise, the first 2, and then Philip over here is going to hit the digital e-com side. So we won't get to the bottom 2, but we'll start off with the on-premise, right? So you build your brand on-premise. On-premise is a really cool opportunity, I think, that we have in the Bev-Alc space compared to any other CPG product. Because if you think about a bar or a restaurant, you don't really know what brand of chicken is being used in your dish, but you do know what brand of rum is going to be in your cocktail. So it's a very unique opportunity for brands to have visibility in the bar and restaurant world that we have in particular in Bev-Alc. So let's think about what are sort of the opportunities that exist in the on-premise for you to go after, right? So you have back bar placements, sitting behind a bar, offers exposure to not only consumers who may sit and see it, but to the industry itself, so the bartenders and the bar staff. You have cocktail listings, of course, so either permanent or featured cocktail. This is your liquid being used. What do you do with it, right? How do people enjoy it? And then, of course, you have having your bottle in the well. So in my case, awesome if the house mojito is using Coconut Cartel Blanco. That's great. But we want to talk about the storytellers that exist in this platform in particular, right? Because marketing is storytelling, sales is sort of the channel of getting it out there. You need the storytelling to make the sales. So within the on-premise, we have really, really important stakeholders. We have the bartenders and we have the venue itself, right? So the bartenders they're there when you're not there, so they can either share information through education that you've given them or through relationships that you've built with them about your product. They can showcase it in the cocktails that they're making. Brand association with a venue is a big one. So think about a top 50 bar. If you're in that top 50 bar as a brand, that means that your brand aligns with that bar's values, and that says a lot, right? So like to consumers and to the industry, Coconut Cartel's at a top 50 bar, must be good, right? I want to get it from my bar. The cocktail that you're in is also a storyteller in itself, right? So if I think of Coconut Cartel Añejo, we are proliferating the message that it's a sipping rum. So if I get the opportunity to be in an old fashioned, that's amazing because people are sipping our spirit forward cocktail, and that's proliferating that message. Whereas if I'm in a pina colada, which I love a pina colada and it'll do some volume for us, which is also a good thing, but it's not proliferating the message or the storytelling of that it's a sipping rum. So the cocktail that you're in is also a big storyteller in the on-premise. I think the challenges that you face in the on-premise is one, obviously it's super competitive. You have everybody in this room trying to get on that cocktail list, right? So competing. It's impossible to know who your end consumer is. I don't know who's behind the bar drinking my drink. So getting that customer data is something that is difficult to get in the on-premise. And then obviously the cocktail that you're in says a lot as well, like I was mentioning. So that's the on-prem. Now let's move on to the off-prem. Completely different platform, like we were saying. What are your opportunities in the off-prem? You got shelf space, so we're trying to get a bottle on the shelf. If you're able to and lucky, can get some cool displays or end caps, right? So like the opportunity to bring your brand alive into a store by way of a beautiful display or a beautiful tag under your bottle. Another opportunity is the ability to grow within a chain, right? So if you do really well with one store, chances are they have another store or they're part of a group, so you can grow in volume. Your storytellers in this setting are completely different, though. We don't have humans involved, really, usually. So a lot of it's going to rely on your product. So your packaging is telling a story, right? Consumer sees it. What is it saying to them? You have that POS or that display that we were talking about. If you have the opportunity to put a poster up or wrap the counter, those are opportunities for you to story tell by way of graphics, content. And then tastings, that's another huge one. So whether it's yourself conducting tastings at the beginning or you're working with a tasting agency, that is an actual human you're putting in there who is going to, liquid to lips, taste some consumers who are coming into the store, educate the consumers, educate the store associates and the owners. So hopefully when somebody comes into the store the next day looking for a bottle of rum, they will have learned about your rum and they'll help you sell through it. And of course is, all the advertising that you can think of, billboards and whatnot to help you sell off the shelf. So I think the biggest challenges though in the off-premise is that it's not like when you sell a bottle or a case into an on-prem account, they're not going to let it sit there and be on their balance sheet. They're going to find a way to get it off. In this case, the consumer pull is on you. So if you don't do what you need to do to create awareness around your brand and it doesn't move, you have a big risk. The risk is one, that they'll put you on discount and now that just doesn't look good, or the worst case scenario is that you get DQ'd, discontinued, you're out. So you got to be kind of, again, that's sales and marketing alignment where get into the account, cool, that's your sale. Now what are you going to do to get it off the shelf? And it's difficult, another challenge in off-premise is difficult to tell your story, right? You have no humans there. So it really comes down to that sort of out-of-house marketing. So I like to play a little game here. It's called If I Had $1 Million. We're going to look at two scenarios and kind of think about like, where should they go? What should they do? The first one, based on the on and off premise that we just talked about, obviously. So scenario A is I'm opening a new distillery, an aging house where I'm sourcing rums from all over the world, and I'm putting my special touch on them with some unique barrel finishes. Everything is going to be limited edition, and we're going to have tasting tours. So you can come visit the distillery and you can taste our products. So what's my marketing cocktail for this scenario? So my priorities So answering those initial questions we were talking about are, my liquid. It's about my liquid. I'm doing some special stuff with my liquid. I want this to be an organic growth business that I can build into a sustainable business that's profitable and possibly, a family heirloom. And that's going to be done by, mostly creating word of mouth by people coming through the distillery and trying our products. If I have to, pick my strategy here, I'm going to probably go with some boutique distribution. So, a house that maybe is selling these specialty types of rums. I'm going to focus on the on-premise rum and whiskey bars, and I'm going to really, really hone in on creating brand ambassadors out of the bartenders, right? I'm going to get them to help me tell my story. A rum drinker comes in, and they can tell them about my distillery, and they can also tell them that I'm available online through e-commerce. And so if they'd like to buy a bottle, they can find me our new drops and special releases in e-commerce, and I'm going to build through that my email list, and Philip will get into it, but find a way to create loyalty with my customers through e-commerce. And I'm going to go to specialty tasting shows to build that email list and get some traction. So those are the things that I would do if I had that kind of company. Whereas scenario B, I'm going to launch a tequila flavored rum with a huge celebrity backer. We're going to try to get those Gen Zs on board who are obsessed with Casamigos, and it's going to be cheaper. So the cocktail, marketing cocktail, in that situation is I need to do some serious volume because I have a very expensive celebrity on board and my margins are probably not as high. But I'm trying to hit those tequila drinkers because that's what's selling. I want to be in national accounts and in chains. So I want to do, again, volume. I want to build a lifestyle brand around that celebrity and use their likeness. And like everything these days, we're looking at path to profitability rather than just like top line growth. To do that, I'm going to have more of an off-premise and online strategy rather than the on-premise. So again, I'm going to try to hit those chain accounts, use the celebrity's likeness to create a lot of awareness around the product and create that product pull. We want wide reach distribution, so I'm going with the big boys to get it everywhere as fast as possible. I'm going to invest heavily in digital marketing, again, to create that awareness. I'm going to go in on big consumer events, so festivals and parties and things like that, just to create awareness again. And I'm likely going to have to raise a ton of money to be able to do this quick enough, right? So it's going to be messy, but hopefully at the end of the day it works out. That's all I got for you folks today. Thank you very much.